In this video, we're going to be talking about green flags you probably thought were red. Now, there are so many videos talking about red flags, what to look out for, but not a lot of people talk about green flags, especially the ones that you think are red. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down misconceptions, and if you want to learn how to build a healthy relationship, make sure you watch to the end because I'm going to give you all the juicy details. First on the list is when they don't immediately be vulnerable and trust you right away. Instead, they kind of treat you like a stranger. Now, for those of y'all who are more anxious or fearful, might see this as a red flag thinking, oh, well, they're not as vulnerable with me right now, I don't feel the sparks, they're hiding something, when in reality it's normal to treat someone as a stranger, especially if you just met them. Now, I know a lot of y'all who are anxious or fearful have this wound of feeling disconnected and wanting to feel that connection, and so some of y'all are probably used to trying to fast track the relationship by getting really vulnerable, really close right away, talking about those deep stories and deep secrets. But if someone's not doing that right away and they're not just spilling out their trauma for you, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It might mean that they have emotional boundaries, they're treating you as a stranger because they don't really know you right away. That trust and vulnerability takes time to build. So it's not necessarily a red flag, it's actually a green flag. And number two, when there's not constantly ups and downs and yelling and screaming, you might think that the relationship is boring when in reality, it's just safe and peaceful. If we grew up in a household where there was constantly unpredictability, yelling, ups and downs, guilt tripping, silent treatment, and you've seen that as love, when there's peace and the complete opposite, you might feel weird about that. And you might even think it's boring when in reality, our perception of love is just unhealthy. Because healthy love is peaceful. There's not constantly ups and downs. And so instead of mistaking that peace for boring and that up and down for passion, we want to make sure we change the way we see healthy love. And number three, when they don't immediately call you pet names in the beginning of the relationship. And this is very similar to what I said in number one. It's not necessarily a red flag because they just met you. And if they have pet names for anyone that they just met, it might be even considered a red flag. And number four, when every date is not going amazing. Now, a lot of fearful avoidants have this expectation that every date or every interaction that they have with their partner is supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to have sparks. It's supposed to be perfect. And if it's not, then there's something wrong. Now, I'm here to tell you that that's actually not true. And it's normal for a relationship to have its boring peaks or you just get comfortable with each other. Of course, if you feel like you're constantly doing the same thing, like watching Netflix and just chilling and there's nothing really progressing, maybe you do want to add some sparks in there by not yelling and screaming, but maybe introducing something new. Maybe doing a fun activity together, doing a new hobby that you both can explore and learn something. And that way it's a lot more memorable and you're going to have dates where you feel like you're excited to see them again because our brain tends to remember things that are new and filter out things that we've done multiple times. And it's okay to have those chill hangouts sometimes. Sometimes it's just good to enjoy each other's company. But number six, something that you might have thought was a red flag but is actually green, is that they don't talk to you 24/7. And this is for my anxious attachment styles who have this fear of abandonment and want to be able to be connected with someone 24/7. Now, this might mean being on FaceTime constantly for hours, texting back and forth the whole entire day. And I'm not saying it's bad to keep in contact every day. I keep in contact with my boyfriend every day as well. However, what I'm saying is that it's important to maintain your own identity outside of the relationship so you're not just constantly in a codependent cycle where you're just living for them. Make sure that you're not just clearing out your schedule and waiting for them to tell you what to do or to hang out, and instead work on fulfilling your needs in the different areas of your life too. Remember, your life doesn't stop just because you get into a relationship. I know a lot of times a lot of my anxious or fearful avoidants tend to do this and just completely drop their friends or drop parts of their life and lose their goals and ambitions and just focus on the relationship. But in reality, that's not necessarily the most healthiest thing that you can do because that oftentimes leads to a codependent relationship. And like I say in my other videos, your partner is not responsible for your happiness. So you're only going to find yourself feeling disappointed and unfulfilled if you give your partner that power of just being the sole source of your happiness. And number seven, when they're not constantly jealous. Now, if you're familiar with unhealthy love, you most likely associate jealousy with passion or love. You think, oh, if they're feeling jealous, that must mean that they care about me. When in reality, what's behind that jealousy is just their insecurity. And I do want to know, jealousy is a normal emotion. However, if it gets to that point where it's fueling your actions and it's making you feel worthless or creating low self-esteem, then you want to make sure that you're not cycling the chronic jealousy and working on healing some of those wounds. And if you want to learn more about that, watch my latest YouTube video right here. But remember, it doesn't mean that they don't care about you just because they're not jealous. It just might mean that they're secure within themselves and they trust you. But with that said, these are a couple of the green flags that I see in healthy relationships that oftentimes a lot of people perceive them as red flags. And if that's you, I I hear you and you're not alone. I used to be the same way as well, and as a former fearful avoidant, I used to have these same perceptions as well until I started to heal my attachment style and rewire some of the narratives that I've internalized. So if you're ready to break that cycle and if you want to work on this one-on-one with me in depth, make sure you click the link in my description below to book a call. But comment down below which of these green flags you thought were red, and if you have any that you want to share below, make sure that you do that. But make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in next week's video. As always, you got this.